In this video, I'm going to explain basic ideas of solving rational equations. So here we have an equation. And there are several fractions here. And everybody hates fractions. So what you're going to do is kill these fractions. So how do we kill fractions? The answer is to multiply these fractions by the least common denominator. Okay? So how do we find least common denominator? We have three denominators, okay, 10, 8, and 20. First, we need to factor these numbers. The 10 equals 2 times 5, 8 equals 2 cubed, 20 is 4 times 5, 4 is 2 squared, so 20 is 2 squared times 5. So the least common denominator is basically the highest power of every factor. So here we see some powers of 2 and some powers of 5. So if you look at the powers of 2, this is the highest power, the third power of 2. So we take it. Now if you look at the number 5, this is the first power. Here there is no power of 5. Here is the first power of 5. So we take the first power of 5. Then this is 8 times 5. So that's 40. Now we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by this LCD. So 40 times the whole left-hand side. So 1/10 of x plus 1/8. And we're going to multiply the right-hand side by the same number. 40 times 1/20. Okay, and then we distribute this number. And we're going to have 40 times 1/10 of x plus 40 times 1/8, and that's equal to 40 times 1/20. In fact, we could have skipped this distribution process. We could go straight from the equation to this line. And basically in this equation we have two terms on the left hand side and one term on the right hand side. If you just multiply each term by this number 40, then we get this 40 times 40 times 40 times. Okay, now let's simplify this equation. 40 times 1/10 of x, if you cancel 10 out, we get 4 times x. 40 times 1/8, 1/8 of 40 is 5. And 40 times 1/20, 40 is 20 times 2, so this equals 2. So here now we have a nice and simple linear equation. We're going to solve this equation. Subtract 5 from both sides. The 4x equals -3. And if you divide both sides by 4, x equals -3/4. Okay, here we have the second example. We see some fractions. Now this time we have some variables in the denominator, but the idea is the same. We are going to multiply every term by the least common denominator. Okay, so the two denominators are exactly the same, so the least common denominator of them is just that same denominator. So let's multiply. Let's multiply every term. There are three terms, two terms on the left and one term on the right. We're going to multiply every term by the denominator x plus 1. So because x plus 1 consists of two terms, when you multiply this, we have to surround them. We have to multiply everything. So we have to surround them by parentheses. x plus 1, x plus 1, x plus 1. So multiply 4 over x plus 1, multiply this by x plus 1, multiply the second term 3 by x plus 1, and multiply the third one 2 over x plus 1 by x plus 1. Then we're going to cancel the denominator because x plus 1, these two are the same, they cancel out. These two cancel. So we are left with 4 plus 3 parentheses x plus 1 equals 2. Again, once we get rid of the denominators, we are left with a pretty simple equation. So let's solve this equation. 4 plus distributes the number 3, 3x plus 3 equals 2. And then this is 3x plus 4 plus 3, that's 7 equals 2. Let's go up here. Now we're going to subtract 7 from both sides, and this 7 on the left hand side will go away, and we're left with 3x. On the right hand side, if we subtract 7, we have 3x equals negative 5. And finally, divide both sides by 3, we get x equals negative 5/3. Okay, this is the third example. We need to find the least common denominator. So to do that, we're going to factor the denominators first. So factoring this polynomial, we have x as a common factor, so x times x plus 1. And the least common denominator is then we take the common factor of x, that is x, and there is another factor, x plus 1. Here we have one factor of x plus 1 and no factor of x plus 1. We take higher number of factors, so we're going to multiply this x plus 1. So this is the least common denominator. The next step is to multiply every term in the equation by LCD. So x minus 1 over x squared plus x times x plus 1 minus 2 over x times the same thing, x times x plus 1, and that equals 0 times x plus 1. Now let's cancel some of the factors out. X squared plus x, this is, if you factor it out, you just get x times x plus 1 over here. And that looks exactly the same as these factors multiplied. So they cancel, everything cancels. In the second term, we have x as a common factor, so they cancel out, and x plus 1 is left. On the right hand side, we multiply this by 0. If you multiply anything by 0, that's just 0. So now we have x minus 1 minus 2 times x plus 1, and that equals 0. So here we have nice and simple equation without the denominators. So x minus 1, if you distribute the number, if this is 2x, and then minus 2 times 1, that's minus 2. So x minus 2x is then minus x, and minus 1 minus 2 together minus 3. That equals 0. Now if you add x to both sides, plus x here and plus x here, we get x minus x equals 0, so we are left with negative 3 on the left, and 0 plus x equals x. So x equals negative 3. So this is the answer. Now let's check out whether this number really works. In other words, let's plug in the value to the original equation, and let's compute this expression and see whether it's really equal to 0. So we're going to need some space. So let me erase some of the stuff here. And let's plug in the value. And then let's plug in the value, negative 3 minus 1 over negative 3 squared plus negative 3 minus 2 over negative 3. Still need more space. Then this equals negative 4 over, this is 9 minus 3, 6. Then minus 2 over negative 3. Now you see 4 over 6, that's equal to 2 over 3 if you cancel 2 out. And this is negative 2/3 minus another negative 2/3. So they cancel and the value equals 0. So it really equals 0. So this is the verification step for this solution.